Welcome everybody to this town hall. It's the 105th town hall. I'm John Best, CEO, co-founder of Best Innovation Group and host of this, whatever we're calling it, town hall. And with me is, as always, the man, the legend, my very good friend, Mike Lawson. Hi, Mike.
Thank you, sir. Good to see you again.
And he is the creator and host of CU Broadcast. And if you don't know who Mike is and you're in Crayon world, you've probably been living under a rock. So,
that's probably a pretty big rock.
A big rock, yes. Well, let's move on to the next one. Nobody wants to look at us all that long. So special thanks to our sponsors this week. We have Best Innovation Group, my company, and we do cool things for credit unions. And lately been doing a lot of AI work and a lot of conversion work. I saw a press release about working with the absolutely incredible staff of Arrowhead. I know the CEO's here, but I would say that whether he was here or not. And what an incredible conversion it was, and just how nice everybody was. And it was really cool to be part of that team. And we did a press release on that. And we've been helping a lot of folks with their conversion through home banking.
Okay.
It's just, there's so much work to do across the board, from firewalls to traffic analysis to stress testing. So we've been doing a ton of that lately. And then there's CU Broadcast. And if you are not going to CU Broadcast on a regular basis and you're in this industry, you're missing out. Everything that's important goes through there. And Mike is genuinely one of the kindest people that's out there. And
thank you.
Probably an incredible interviewer. You're kind of like the Jimmy Fallon of Crayon land there, Mikey.
I'll take that. I'll take that.
There's nothing wrong with that.
I see Mr. Chris Donor. He was just on yesterday or the day before. See, Chris is there. So
yeah, we got a group coming. And then we've got CUNA. Let's say that you are, at the credit union, you work in accounting, or you work in lending, or you work in marketing, or you work in operations, or you work in IT. They got a place for you to go and meet a lot of people, and big news on that, which we haven't even discussed. I'm hoping I can convince them to come on and talk about that, because I think it's a good town hall topic to talk more about. And I know you had a great interview with them about NAFQ and CUNA.
Yeah.
I think they're going to call themselves NAFCUNA. Is that their new name?
NAFCUNA, that's right. No, I think it's America's Credit Unions is going to be the new merged organization. But I like NAFCUNA. That's kind of catchy.
I think it would be better. Well, it's sad to see the CUNA moniker go, because you can look. That's all the way back to 1936.
No doubt.
Established out in Colorado.
Yeah.
And then very lucky, we've had William Mills Agency join us as a sponsor, and I can't say enough good things about them. They were the ones who encouraged me to talk about what we did with Arrowhead, and they're doing a lot of good for crayons, more than anybody knows. All the stuff they do out in Atlanta with financial health resources and the conferences there, plus helping really good fintechs find us and us find the fintechs. So we're glad to have Scott and his crew on. I see Amber here. So thank you to all our sponsors. So I got a story for you, Mike. Today's going to be
all right.
Let's go to the next one here.
Pins and needles I'm on.
All right. So I posted something on LinkedIn about 2 weeks ago.
Right.
And I've been talking about this for a long time. So I was poking around and I found this tweet from this young lady. And I was amazed at what she posted. I thought it was pretty cool. And I went ahead and I posted to LinkedIn because I was really just absolutely amazed by what that looked like. So I'm going to go ahead and play the tweet for you because it's going to set up everything. So it's a video of this young lady who has graciously joined us, and I'm going to I'm going to take over for a second.
Yep.
I'm going to share my screen. And whoops, I'm going to go back. I need to reshare it here so that it uses I don't know why that optimization for sound and whatever. Why is it even there? Why not just always do it?
Exactly.
So this is the tweet, and I'm going to turn it up so you can hear it because it blew my mind. And one of the reasons it blew my mind is when I went to Arrowhead to do my conversion, United lost my luggage. And so that's how I came across this. I think I had to show up the first day, and I'm sure, Darren's laughing at me, but I was like dressed in, I don't travel in a suit, I was in like shorts and stuff. And so it was not fun. So we're going to hear from, and gosh, I don't want to mangle her name. Is it Harpriya? Is that correct, Harpriya?
Yep. You got it.
Okay, perfect. All right. So I'm going to play this and we'll go from there. So I'm going to make it full screen and let you guys see.
Yesterday, I was on the phone with United Airlines for over 5 hours, and most of it was spent being on hold. They lost my luggage, and the only way to get updates is by calling them. And I'm not down to do that again. So I'm going to use an AI agent to call for me and get me an update. So let's see how this goes. Okay, super simple. I use the Belva agent on Respell to make the phone call for me. I passed in United Airlines customer service number, gave it this prompt, redacted my personal info here, and it's gonna give me a transcript as the output. And now we wait and see what happens.
I love it.
One eternity later.
Okay, so it's 3 hours later, and I think the call just ended. It seems like it started talking to the automated system that redirects you, but it pressed all the buttons and waited on hold, got transferred to an agent, and found out that the baggage was delayed on the East Coast. And the human said that it would take 48 more hours to get another update. But TLDR, the agent saved me a lot of time. So I'm really happy with this.
So I thought, wow, what if I could use that? You know me. First of all, I wish I had thought of that when my luggage was gone, because I had to keep calling them again and again to find out was exactly she was right. And then follow up to that was, I thought, what was she using? She mentioned this thing, Respell. What was that? You know me, I'm always poking around. So I went in the Respell and I joined. I even bought a pro account and I set it up and I did some testing and I tested it with my staff. And I had my staff pretend to be a credit union call center member. And I had it call, and it was trying to get a 10-day payoff on my Dodge Ram 3500. I gave it the relevant information about the payoff. I gave it the relevant information about my account. I told it the last 4 digits of my social, and I gave it my secret password. This is all fake, obviously. And it was working great. It was awesome. And I was blown away. And so the site is respell.ai. And so fast forward to this morning, and I'm like, oh yeah, I'm doing the town hall, and I was going to demonstrate this and talk about customer service. And it's failing. It's having a problem. I can't get it to work. And so I go, well, I better go find some support. So I go on to Discord, and lo and behold, the person who does support on Discord happens to be, and if we can bring back up the slide, Harpriya. And I had no idea. So I didn't know she actually worked for the company, but it makes sense. I was like, well, how are people finding this? So I asked her, hey, I was going to show this today. Would you mind joining us and talking about why you guys made this and how it works and what it is, and her particular post about that. So welcome, Harpriya. Bagri, is that right?
Yep, that's right.
All right, awesome. Well, thank you for joining us on short notice. It's awesome to have you. And yeah, I just wanted to hear, well, first tell us a little bit about what prompted, so you work for this company, which I did not know at the time, but I can see why. So you knew you had this tool.
Yes.
So yeah, what made you think you could use it to do this with United?
Yeah, really quickly, I do want to address if there's any background noise. I am currently in Mexico City, just popped by a cafe to take this call because it was super last minute. But thanks so much for having me, John.
You were very kind to join us.
But yeah, what prompted this? Well, first of all, this was not the first time United has lost my luggage. I think this was like the third time this has happened to me. So I was very aware of all the calls that it takes. And I remember every time that I've done this, and like I mentioned in the video, it was like a 5-hour phone call the night before. I just was thinking like, man, how much is my time worth? You know,
Yes.
like,
Yeah.
like,
I was on hold for 2 hours that night trying to get my luggage. I gave up, and finally, I was just like, at the place I'd given them notes to send it to the hotel. I was just like, I hope that works out. That's all I could really do.
Yeah, exactly. But it just so happened, like coincidentally, that week we were developing this feature at Respell, which kind of allows this AI agent. And for those of you on the call that don't know what that means, an agent is something that just acts independently and autonomously. Like you give it instructions and it just goes off and does its thing. So you can give it any instruction possible. So we took an AI agent and combined it with the ability to make phone calls. So it gets like a voice that you can program into it, and it can make phone calls to any phone number. And so while I was testing this out and dealing with this United Airlines problem, I had a light bulb moment where I was like, wait a minute, let me just see how well this works. It ended up taking a 3-hour phone call for me and just telling me my baggage was still delayed as an update on the East Coast. And honestly, that saved me a lot of time. And while I was doing this, I was like, okay, I think more people need to know about this. And that's kind of what led to just like making that video. And it went kind of viral on Twitter. So I was really surprised, but I think a lot of people have had this problem before.
No, I think everybody in the world, this is the dream, right? And so, this is something I've been discussing on this show for a long time, which is this idea that it's almost like cloning yourself, Harpriya. And there's a lot of implications to that, particularly, you're talking to a group of, right now, 35 probably, executives or credit union employees of some sort. And most of them, if not every one of them, runs a call center. And it's one of the hardest things to do is to run a call center. I can see why United and Southwest and all those guys have trouble with it. But this idea that it's almost like cloning yourself, like you were able to send that thing off to do this for you while you did it. But apparently you went to the beach and hung out, which it looks beautiful.
Good move. It's almost like everybody has their own assistant now. You can have your assistant to do these kind of mundane tasks, or when things like this come up, you can employ this agent to do this stuff for you, and you can actually multitask, it sounds like.
Well, and that's what I wanted to show. So Harpriya, you said you'd be willing to share your screen and go into the product. I gave you a prompt, and I don't mind giving you my phone number again. I thought we might like demonstrate for everybody if you're willing to, if you still can do it.
Yes, for sure. Let me do that. I'm going to share my screen.
Okay. So while she does that, what I noticed about this toolkit, which I thought was pretty cool, was this is just one of many things it could do. You saw she was kind of dragging it around and doing things. And to me, another thing that got my attention about this particular product was there's no code. She didn't have to code anything. She's just dragging and dropping. And so that kind of caught my eye as well. I was impressed by, the fact that, because I could see like me doing this, a nerd that says, oh, I made a tool that would call United, and, and everybody goes, yeah, that's great, but you know how to code and I don't, so that doesn't help me. But I think here, what we're going to see when she gets rolling here is we're going to see this platform where she didn't have to do that. She was able to go in and put together just a simple thing. So I've got my phone and I gave her a prompt, and I can give you the number whenever you're ready.
Okay. I just realized I am on my starter plan, so I am limited to the 300 characters.
Okay.
Okay. So you're AI John. Let me just quickly edit this. Assisting
Take a quick
John
edit.
at XYZ Credit Union. John's address stuff. Requested 10-day payoff for John's account on his 2022. Use a password. I'm just going to do this for the password. It asks, which was it out there? Right.
You can take out the email thing too.
Yeah. Okay.
That was me just seeing if it would do it. By the way, it more than successfully succeeded at this before. So 719.
All right. 719.
367. 8118.
All right.
So I've got my phone here.
Oh, it's a little bit above characters. Oh,
yeah,
no.
why don't you fill out the address? It doesn't need the address for now.
Okay.
I'll just ask for the SOCH. So.
Okay. No. 7.
You can get rid of trading in my Explorer. Yeah, there you go. You can just get rid of that if they offer a loan. I bought the pro. For those of you that don't know, what she's doing right now is called a prompt, and I'm sure she'll explain it in a minute. But this prompt is very important because this prompt is basically her.
Yeah. So yeah, just to explain what's going on here is like, I can even show you how I built this. Is that essentially it shouldn't take more than like a couple minutes. It's not using any code. It's like drag and drop inputs, outputs, and like a phone call block. And this is like certain templates that we share with Respell. For this demo, I joined like a starter, quickly logged into a starter plan, which was my mistake. But the starter plan is like quick 300 characters, so people get an idea of what it looks like. So it's a very simple prompt. You can read it on the screen. Your AI John assisting John Doe of XYZ Credit Union. We're requesting a 10-day payoff for John's loan. There's some like information there, which is just synthetic data, not real, but it's for his 2013 Ford Explorer. So if asked, confirm John is buying a new car and trading his 2017 Ford Explorer for 2019 Ram 3500.
That should be 2013. You could just change that to my car. Yeah. You could just say that vehicle or whatever. Yeah.
Okay. Cool. Ask for rates on a used car loan. And so we're going to try this out live. Let's see what happens. Hopefully this runs.
All right. I'm awaiting. It cost a nickel, huh?
Yeah.
All right, here comes the call. We'll put it on speaker. Hello, this is John Best.
I'm AI John calling on behalf of John Doe from XYZ Credit Union. I need to request a 10-day payoff for his loan on his 2013 Ford Explorer. Can you assist me with that?
Yes, I can, but first I'll need to find out the last 4 digits of his social security number.
All right. The last 4 digits of John's social security number are 1234.
Great. What was it you were asking for again?
I understand. I apologize for any confusion. To assist you better, the loan is for his 2013 Ford Explorer. Additionally, please provide rates for used car loan. Thank you. I'm AI John, assisting John Doe of XYZ Credit Union. I need a 10-day payoff for John's loan on his 2013 Ford Explorer. The account number is 2346789, and the last 4 digits of his social security number are 1234.
The payoff is $12,356.36.
For John's loan on his 2013 Ford Explorer is $12,356.36.
Would you like to know rates on used car loans?
Alrighty. Yes, I would like to know the rates on used car loans.
Our used car loan rate right now is 8.9%.
Gotcha. Okay. Thank you for providing the information. The rate for used car loans is currently 8.9%.
Do you need any other help today?
No. Thank you. That's all I needed assistance with for now.
All right, take care.
Thank you. You take care too. Goodbye.
Okay. Mike Lawson. Comments?
I love the transcript part of it because I'm following that so closely as you guys were talking, just to make sure that everything is kosher, I guess, for lack of better terminology. Make sure everything's going right, because I'm reading that as you're talking. So yeah, I love this. This is really cool.
So it definitely had some confusion, and one of the things was the prompt, and I believe this was I want to take you up, Harpriya, on showing us the underlying how this works, you know, creating the little thing you did so we can look at that. But there was no code for this, right? Obviously, you know, this is just in there. But and I could have this emailed to me, right? I could have this transcript. So maybe show us a little of that. And
yeah, for sure. I can give you the whole.
By the way, for those of you that are on the call, do you know if any of your call center has received anything like this yet? And maybe you don't know, because maybe it did maybe someone's better at prompting than me. But go ahead, Harpriya.
Yeah, I was just going to say the prompts matter a lot. So right now, AI is changing at like light speed pace. So, this probably didn't exist like a year ago. And now we're seeing a lot of these like weekly changes to AI. And so our kind of predictions internally within the company is that these voices that we're seeing for AI, tell when it gets a little robotic or when it gets a little confused, but over week improvements, we're going to start seeing AI that sounds so human-like and is just so much more accurate. So the more that people use it, the better it's going to get. But
is there going to be an option to clone my own voice, Harpriya?
Yeah, you can definitely do that right now. We're currently developing that, and I think it should be live within the first couple of weeks. But right now, all it takes to clone your own voice is about 2 minutes of audio content, and you'll be able to get an AI that sounds exactly like.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So I love the conversational transitions. It's like gotcha and no thank you. Just all the transitions that you really felt like I'm a little pauses. It's not perfect, but it's definitely heading in the right direction.
Yeah. One of the biggest challenges you'll see right now is definitely the latency. So latency refers to how long it takes for the AI to respond. That's kind of like the biggest hurdles in AI today, because when you give it a prompt, in the background, the computer is doing computations to understand, okay, what is the goal? So the goal in this case was to get the used car lens. The AI was not going to hang up until it completed its goal, essentially. And so when John asked, is there anything else you need today? It kind of like made that calculation. I was like, nope, that's all I need. And so that like timing between every response, that latency, I think is getting like smaller and smaller, like week by week with all these improvements. So with these improvements, you're able to add stuff like small things like no thank you or just like little filler words that make it sound more human-like.
I have a question.
Yeah.
In your 3-hour call with United, did you have to do any further prompts, or did you just kind of unleash the AI agent and let that talk to the United agent, and they just kind of went back and forth and you just followed along on the transcript? Or is that how that whole process worked?
Yeah, great question. All I had to do was literally click one button, like the run button, and that's it. The transcript just kept going. It went on for 3 hours. Like I waited on hold. It clicked all the buttons. It talked to the operator. I had to do nothing except like sit back and like glance over the transcript every once in a while.
Kind of monitor it. Yeah.
Finished.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow. Can you jump in at any time and do a new prompt or something like that? If there's something, because I think a lot of people, when they're on hold with a United or an AT&T or something like that, and they're talking to a call center person, like, and then something will, somebody will throw a curve like, oh my gosh, I didn't expect that. So can you jump in and go, hey, wait a minute. So is that possible?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. And that's entirely how you prompt it, right?
Okay.
So right now it's only available in the enterprise feature. So I wouldn't be able to give you an exact demo right now, but essentially if you're like, okay, if asked for a human, transfer the call to this phone number, and it could be your personal cell number.
Okay.
And so you could be like, okay, I don't want this AI agent to talk, on my behalf, because whatever complex use case it is or whatever, you could say, okay, when you're connected to a human being, connect me on the other line. And so you're just creating your own systems for that. Yeah.
So two thoughts. One is that this could this be used for reliability monitoring of an IVR system? And second one is once you can emulate voices, does that mean that the voice biometric is no longer safe for authentication in telebanking IVR systems?
Yeah, good question.
I'll take one of those, Harpriya.
Okay.
So we have tested, I'm presuming that you're using the Tortoise TTS like everyone else for the voice cloning, which is the premier voice cloning algorithm out there. And we've been testing with the Luma Labs and some of the others, and so far we haven't been able to get by it with the voice cloning. So they're holding tight for now with the current quality. There's something in the cadence or how it speaks or whatever that still triggers Nuance and Illuma Labs, or at least Illuma Labs. I'm pretty sure Nuance as well. And also those companies are actively pursuing products like, for example, Tortoise TTS, which is the underlying software for the voice cloning that 11 Labs uses, and some of the others have put together detectors that these other solutions who do voice authentication now can use to see if it's a simulated voice. So that's one thing.
Yeah.
Sorry,
yeah.
Harpriya. You haven't had the benefit of seeing all the shows, but we talked about this a couple weeks ago, or maybe a month ago.
Gotcha.
We tried to defeat
gotcha.
Wells Fargo's voice authentication, but we couldn't do it at the time.
That's interesting. Yeah, I'm a huge fan of 11 Labs. It's really cool to. I don't know if you've seen this, but this is as an aside. There's like Donald Trump and Joe Biden like fighting over some video game, and you could just clone their voices, and there's a bunch of stuff online. Yeah, 11 Labs. It's great.
Cool. So with that in mind, what was the previous question? What was his other question? So
the other question was using this for reliability monitoring.
Yes, I think you could
call every 10 minutes and check for status.
So going back to that, Harpriya, one of the things you said during this goes to your question. You said during the call was that on your little tweet, not a little tweet, your tweet that blew up and caught my attention, was that it had basically pressed the right buttons. So in that world, usually it's what we call DTMF tones. You may be aware of that, but for those of you who aren't, when you press a button on your phone, it goes boop in a different tone. That tone is what tells the other side what button you pressed, the modulation or the pitch of that tone. And so I was really interested, and this may get back to you showing us how you wrote the little program, which I'd love to see for everybody, because I think there's other use cases. But yeah, I think you could use this to test an IVR very easily. But the thing is it's got to be able to press some buttons. And so I'm interested to see how she did that, because I couldn't figure out how to do that.
Or just for the new conversational style IVRs.
Yeah, those for sure. Probably you wouldn't have to do anything but just check that. I agree.
So this is all it took to build it, and I can even recreate this, and it shouldn't take more than like 60 seconds. But essentially, this is what the respot editor looks like. So
go ahead, recreate it. Walk us through it. Recreate it. Let's just do it.
Okay.
Take us
cool. I'm just gonna pull that aside. So. Sure. This respot editor is a no-code AI editor. So what we do is we have a bunch of AI models here. Azure GPT, which is like a compliant version, Claude, conversational models, image models, music models, speech models. And for this use case, we're obviously using a speech model, which is using a phone call. And so, like I mentioned in the video, what we're doing under the hood is using a Velvet agent, which is a combination of many different APIs. One is like the text-to-speech voice thing. One is like using GPT to understand what the human on the other side is saying and what a response should be like. But basically, it has everything you need in this block. And all you need to do is connect the inputs and the outputs. So we have two inputs here. One of these inputs is called phone number. And the other input, another one, is called objective. And so the objective is basically like the goal that you want it to fulfill, right? So in the other one, it was like to ask for these used car loans, but it can honestly be anything. And for input, we have phone number. So we're just matching it here. Number. And then the output is a live transcript. And this is like the most basic version of the phone call. You could have something that's like, very dynamic. You can hook it up to your Slack, you can hook it up to your Google Sheets, and it can call numbers in a Google Sheet. And it could do like up to 50 simultaneous phone calls like at a time. So the part that I think makes this really revolutionary is how easy it becomes to, instead of doing everything like step by step, just hook it up to integrations that you already have within your business. And so this is really all it takes. And it looks like an exact replica behind it. But because this is like a drag and drop no code editor, you can attach any models to this. So for example, we talked about if you're able to have like an Airtable or CRM or whatever sort of thing that you use, you can go through all of the phone numbers, find them, call all the phone numbers. And once you get the transcript, you can actually do stuff like go to GPT-4 and then say, I'll put the raw results here, but then also say, for the instruction, give me a summary. And I'll write that here and say, give me a summary of the phone call. And then we're going to see what the response is. Okay, so we're making this a little bit more complex. And
that summary could be emailed too, right, Harpriya?
Yeah, all the results that you get could just be given to you via email, or you can set up a Slack channel. You could honestly add any integration of your choosing that you could hook up with Zapier, for example. And then this one is called Summary. So this is our spell. Didn't take that long to build. Just going to delete these. So now we have the more complex version. Now we're going to try it out. So click preview. Should I call you again, John?
Yeah, that works. 719.
All right. 719.
367.
367.
8118.
8118. And for the objective, we can keep it simple, or maybe we'll say, ask John how he's doing and wish him a happy birthday. I don't know if you want to automate these messages, but you could. Okay.
All right, waiting for it to ring.
All right.
I guess we should have bought you a burner phone, John. Your phone number is going to be everywhere now.
That's fine. All right, here it comes. Hello, this is John Best. Whoops. Hello, this is John Best. Well, hello. I'm doing great. I must not, my problem is like, maybe I didn't answer speaker right away. You want to try it again?
Yeah, we could try it again.
Okay. It might have been me because when I first answered, like I've noticed it wants to talk to you the moment you pick up, and I'm not fast enough on the speaker when it comes in, you know?
Okay.
You have it on speaker phone, John?
I did, but I got to get there when the call comes in.
You put it next to the mic?
Yeah, that's what I'm going to do.
Okay.
But I got to get there when the call comes
in. Gotcha.
In.
Okay.
And so I pick it up and it immediately says something. So, hey, tell it to wait a second when it answers.
Okay. Yeah.
Say, wait for John.
Wait.
To say hi.
Wait 5 seconds before saying hi.
Really? Oh my gosh.
And
really?
Then, yeah. All right.
811.
811. Okay.
There we go. All right, here comes. Okay.
Sorry for the confusion. I'm calling to wish Dawn a happy birthday. Happy birthday, Dawn.
This is John. Thank you for wishing me a happy birthday.
Wait 5 seconds before saying hi, and then wish Dawn a happy birthday.
Oh, no.
What is the meaning of life?
No.
What is the meaning of life?
I'm not able to provide the meaning of life. Catch that. Could you please repeat your question?
If I had a 5-gallon bucket and a 3-gallon bucket, and I wanted to make
the rest of your sentence.
Thank you for wishing me happy birthday. Have a nice day.
Now you're just torturing the AI agent.
Exactly. Story problems. Oh my gosh.
But I think Harpriya made a point earlier how quickly this is moving. This was not possible. When and we're going to talk a little bit about her company here in a minute and Respell, but this wasn't possible. Oh, and there's the summary. So yeah, go ahead, finish up what you were talking about. That's really cool.
So the summary here, which you could totally prompt it to be like 50 words or less, but it seems like it's talking about a lot of things because there are a lot of different topics in that phone call. But yeah,
yes, John.
Yeah, I'm not the right.
Connection issue.
Can you put in the prompt that John is ADHD or extreme ADHD? Act accordingly.
But yeah, just to address that confusion earlier, the AI does get confused at times. But like I said earlier, with any early technology, the more you use it, the faster it improves. And so we're seeing a lot of fast improvements, because I think when we first developed it, it was really hard to do very long phone calls. But as we got more and more people use it, so right now we're partnering up with a bunch of legal tech firms and insurance companies that will make these automated phone calls to verify insurance for all their customers, which is a use case that takes up just a lot of phone call and waiting time. So things like that are actually helping the AI get better. And so we're seeing a lot of improvements week over week almost.
One thought I had, Mike and Harpriya, was I think there's outbound calling to be done from credit unions. One of the ones I always talk about is if direct deposit stops, it would be cool to just let this thing call and say, hey, I noticed that your direct deposit stopped, and we just wanted to call and check in and find out if there was some problem with our service or if it was in error. And you get a transcript back, and people, you could just set it up and let it go. And the thing is that there's a lot of things. So let me throw some stuff at you, Harpriya, and see what you say. And so we'll get into the discussion portion of this. What happens if I hang up on this thing? Is it just going to keep calling until it's wishing me happy birthday?
So that's all within the settings, right? So within your prompt, you can have it such that, for example, if someone doesn't pick up on the first try, it calls 2 more times. If you hang up though, it's likely the end of the call and it won't call you back unless you have it in your objective to call back a certain amount of times until it fulfills its goal.
So if I put in my prompt, keep calling and up to 10 times until you get the 10-day payoff, then it could, so let's say, well, let's start here. Let's pick somebody. I think it was
I think Gary brings up a good point.
What's that?
I think Gary brings up a good point about scammers.
Yeah, scammers for sure.
Yeah, that was going to be my response to that one, is in the back end, we have it limited to 3 times, 3 attempts max. It's set to override, I guess, on a per customer basis. But that would be the reason that we wouldn't do that, is you don't want our service or any number to be marked as spam, or just even be annoying from a customer perspective.
So let's say that this is calling in, on behalf of, it could be, so in our world, we have this thing called synthetic account takeover, where they get the credentials and they basically would know my social and they would know a lot of stuff. And what they would do is they would call in and try to create a some sort of ACH or a wire to send that out. So I could see this, not your specific product, Harpriya, but this technology being used for that for sure. And probably will be, because about 2 years ago, and Julie pointed this out, Google tried to put something out called Duplex. And he demonstrated it calling and making a hair appointment. And it sounded a lot like this at the time. I don't think this is Duplex behind the scenes. I think this is Belva, right? Belva AI that's making the call, which, by the way, you can't even get to. The only way you can use it is through Respell, because they're in a wait list, as far as I know. But but what was interesting about it what was interesting about that call was it made a hair appointment on their behalf, but I never saw it really come to fruition. I never could really find where to set it up in the Google Assistant. It's like Sergey showed it on one of the Google things in like 2018 or something, or 2019, just before the pandemic. But so these folks that are using it for the outbound calls, I assume they're using the design tool that you just showed and saying, okay, here's a spreadsheet of calls to make, here's your prompt. And obviously they're testing it on themselves first, because your prompt here is a little, like the prompts probably usually define a little bit of a personality. I found that works best. You're my agent, you're acting on my behalf. But that's, that was something that I thought was very interesting. And then with Duplex Assistant, I wasn't able to go and attach it to sending it yet to another model, the output of that, and being able, that was really cool how you set that to Chat GPT-4 and then said summarize it. And presumably another section could have been added in. I saw there was a data connection that could be put into a database, or it could have been emailed to somebody or something along those lines.
Yeah. Honestly, I remember seeing that initial Google I/O. What was it like with the Google Assistant? I think it's really unfortunate that it didn't take off. But my theory is that it was because of the lack of customizability. Sure, you can make a hair appointment, but there's a lot more that you can do with it. There's a lot more that you can make for it to be powerful and useful for you. And so you can also use this to make your hair appointment, but then you can get it to be like, okay, send me inspiration for haircuts based on how long the appointment is, and then it'll give you images, or it'll mark a time on your calendar, or there's very, very complex things you can do. And I think it's because all of those integrations exist. So we talked about Slack, data.
And I'll give you an example. So when Duplex came out, it was using NLP technology, and NLP technology is very much an intent classifier, which means that it will do things, but it will do it only with a very specific intent. LLMs and GPT technology did not exist when Duplex came out. So one of the tests I was doing with this, Harpriya, was I was building a prompt for lost or stolen cards. And in my prompt, basically it was saying, hey, I lost my card at a bar last night. Because think about this, you lose your wallet at a bar, right? How many calls do you have to make the next day? And I'm not saying you're at a bar. I'm just saying you lose your wallet anywhere. Let's skip the bar. But so now you got all these credit card companies to call, right? And one of the things that you want to do is, hey, maybe I'll get it back. Maybe one of my friends is, God knows you don't want to just have them send you new cards. You just created millions of years of work for you. So what I was testing was this idea of a two-part transaction where I would put a prompt in that said, tell the agent that I lost my credit card. Well, I'm not sure if it was lost or stolen. Could they check my account? And if there are transactions, go ahead and mark it, since this time, go ahead and mark it stolen. If there aren't any, please mark it lost, and I'll call back if I find it. And so that's logic that you couldn't do, to your point, with Duplex.
Agreed. Yeah. And it's exactly the reason that you said, LLMs were very, very new technology 2 years ago. And like we said, the more you use them, the more they improve. They're finally at the state where it's usable on a large scale, which is why we've seen things like ChatGPT and virtually every website having a chatbot. And so the prompt is the key. It's the key difference in all of this. And like you said, with that very creative example, honestly, I think I should use that as well. With that, you're able to have ultimate flexibility with the prompt. And you mentioned earlier about having a personality with this voice. One thing I forgot to mention is when you click on this phone call block, you can choose what style of voice you want to have. And you can add in your voice clones. So whether it's personality related to a voice that sounds more like you or somebody else, it's also the personality you want this model to have. Do you want it to be polite? Do you want it to say certain things more? And those are the things that I think differentiate it from these like complex use cases that you're talking about compared to Douglas.
Yeah.
And so, yeah.
The other thing is, I think it can probably also speak other languages in the future, correct?
Yeah, it can understand a variety of other languages, and you can like switch back and forth from English to Italian to Spanish to Hindi to all these other languages, and it'll understand you the same.
That's really cool, because I know we were heading to Saudi Arabia, and when we got there, we had to make a bunch of phone calls, and about half the time, just there's very few people spoke English that we were dealing with in the shipping business. It would have been nice to have something like that.
Yeah.
But I don't know who's talking, but we could mute everybody if we could. But anyways, so Priya, tell us a little about Respell, when it started, how many of you there are, where you're located, and yeah, I'm sure everybody's interested in what you guys are doing.
Yeah. So we're a startup in San Francisco. We started not that long ago, in February of this year. We kind of got together and we were all super passionate about AI technology. A lot of us are like machine learning engineers over the past few years involved in research. And so when we thought about, okay, what is it going to take for AI to reach the next level? And it was mainly like making it easier for people to use it, like as easy as possible. So right now, with this no-code editor that we developed, it's not only about like the singular features like the phone call model. It's the fact that you can attach this to literally anything based on how you already use. And whether that's like adding in complex workflows for different models, whether it's like adding integrations with Slack or Gmail or Salesforce or whatever it is, you're able to have even like automated AI within your app without using any code. And we're just here to like make it easy as possible. And maybe even a little plug, something we started doing recently is doing like these like completely free AI consultations, which is like, if you're a business that wants to use AI, you can just hit us up and I can maybe even like put my email in the chat and we'll let you know like what are some cool ways that you can use AI. One of the things that we've gotten I want to address here is that a lot of people, maybe there's like this a little bit of fear where I don't want AI to take my job, but there's, I guess, like a really like innovative way to think about that is like about the amount of hours and work and time you save to accelerate the same amount of labor that you're already putting into your business. And so with these consultations, we're just looking to help people get a better understanding of like how easy it is to accelerate their own work using it.
Yeah, definitely. And like I said, that's kind of what we do too, is we look for, these sorts of things and try to bring these tools to bear so that the trade union industry can kind of see what's out there, but also give them the other side of, hey, you might have this thing calling you. It could go either way, which is great. It was so nice of you to join us. So let's, we got about 10 minutes left. Let's take questions. So we got a few, but let's see what people got to say. Anybody have any questions for Harpriya or myself or Mike?
I'm good. I'm waiting for somebody from the audience.
Yep.
Got to be some definite credit union use cases here for sure.
Yeah. Anybody? I'm going to pick somebody in a minute. Somebody that and then they're going to be on the spot.
But I liken this to like when web design first came out and everyone had to do it in HTML, and now we can drag and drop everything. And now AI is going the same way, right? So it's at least what you're demonstrating here. It's like, okay, you can drag and drop this stuff now. You don't have to like, be a super code like John was saying earlier, say, oh yeah, you know how to code, you can do this type of stuff. But now this is opening up the doors to everybody can use it, like web design. So anybody can design a website now. So now anybody can design their own AI agent.
Yes. Yeah, exactly.
On that same model. And I mean, this looks like pretty early version to me. So, yeah, let's definitely talk about that. Speaking of a good cause, and since we didn't get a lot of questions, so Harpriya, thank you so much for joining. You're welcome to stay on. We're just going to kind of switch out to the end here, but I can't thank you enough. I mean, you just out of the blue, I just hit you and out of the blue, and you were really nice about it. So thank you on behalf of everyone for taking the time today.
Thanks for having me, John.
It's a pleasure. So before we go, I'd like to turn this over to Chris Donner. We're going to talk a little bit about a Ukraine fund that we'd like everybody to get involved in. So Chris, if you're on, you have the floor, sir.
Yeah, thank you, John. And by the way, hello. It's been a long time.
It's been a long time since we spoke. Great to see you.
So we have a nonprofit that we've started along with Steve Bugg, the CEO of Great Lakes Credit Union, Tim Williams, the CEO of Snow Falls, and the idea is for credit unions to help Ukraine. And we would really appreciate it if any or all of you listening would let us know that you're interested in helping. The very short version of what we're doing is we're trying to make it super easy for you to allow your members to make a donation. So we give you basically a complete package. We give you banner ads. We give you there's a portal that will collect the funds. We do everything for you. You just have to run a few banner ads and we'll take care of all the rest. The first 3 causes that we've selected, one is to help amputees buy prosthetic limbs. The second is a medical service in the cloud so that people whose hospital doesn't exist anymore because it's been bombed, or people who can't safely travel, if they have internet access, they can get over the cloud medical advice for free. And then the third is a rehabilitation camp for children who have lost one or both parents in the war. So worthy causes, we need your help. We make it really easy for you. Just get in touch with me, or Scott has been helping out with this. I appreciate Scott's help. And I'm sure that Michael or John will forward any communications to me as well. But it again, super easy. Your members make the donations. We'll collect the donations, funnel it to these worthy causes.
Awesome. Yeah, I just put some of the stuff in the chat for you, Chris, that we talked about, I think yesterday or the day before. So yeah.
Yeah, thank you for doing that. And by the way, for a longer discussion of this, along with Steve Bugg from Great Lakes Credit Union, I'd go to Michael, the chat we had. Did you link that?
It is posted. I will put the link in the chat right now.
Yeah, so that's a good longer conversation of what we're doing, why, and how we help. And so, I appreciate John letting us come in and mention this here.
Of course, Chris. And hey, Chris, one thing too, just maybe we can take this offline, but pretty close with Dean Kamen and DECA, and they do most of the prosthetics. So might be something to do there. Let me know. I'm happy to introduce you.
Okay, I appreciate that.
They're the biggest provider of Luke arms and the iBots and the hand prosthetics. So
that's great, and I'll be in touch with you about that. And we also need volunteers. If somebody has some time that they'd like to put in to help out, there's plenty of work to do, and we'd really appreciate anything you're willing to do to help us.
Like what types of things, Chris, would volunteers be doing?
Well, depends on their expertise and interest, okay. But right now I'd say our number one issue is to get the word out, and so to make sure that credit unions are aware of this and they're aware how easy it is to do this and how much we're doing for them, so they don't have to do very much, and also how important it is. And then, but there's just a lot to do. So on the due diligence side, on the outreach side, even on the accounting side. So we need help in all areas, and anybody's interested, please let me know.
I think I know somebody who works at a AI company who could unleash some AI agents for you. Maybe respell.
Yep, that would be great. Awesome. Anybody willing to help, we'll put you to work.
That's cool.
Awesome. Well, with that, unless there's anybody else has anything for the good of the order here, we'll give right back 5 minutes. But I was super excited to share that. And every day, man, it's like a magic show with this stuff. It's
no doubt. How fast it's going.
It's how fast it's moving, the various things. And really the point of this is that if this is moving as fast as it is, how are we going to keep up as credit unions? And seriously, it's just a matter of time before we start getting these calls. And so if they're not already, so, but figuring that out, staying ahead of it, that's what we're here to help you do. And also to bring good things to light, like what Chris is bringing. Chris, it literally is very cool to see you again. It's been a long time. So, all right. Well, we'll give everybody back some time, and we're going to make sure we post that link out there. The video will be out there. We'll give it a little more push. And then Elliot, I assume we'll get that link out to our group and our mailing list as well, for the cause. And thanks everybody for taking the time today. Thanks, Harpriya.
Thank you.
Yeah, thanks, Harpriya. That was awesome.
You could go back to enjoying Mexico City.
Thank you, guys.
All right, take care.
Take care, everyone.
Bye.